Well, greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well still. Welcome to tonight's final bonus. Before we jump into it, though, a couple links. As you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, channel membership are in the description below. Merch displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support this channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It does not cost you a cent. Click that like button. It takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads I put out daily, click that bell icon, and folks, please leave a comment. Why? Well, because all of these things, they really do help this channel to continue to grow and go. And yes, folks, they definitely matter. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's jump into tonight's bonus, shall we? Alright, so when people watch the uploads that featured Victor, and they haven't seen all of them, people are like, what's the difference between a dogman and a werewolf? How fast can these creatures run? How long do they live? And so on. Give us the answers about the big three. Well, in this interview is the interview that all of those questions are answered by Victor. Let's get into it. So, Victor, how are you?
Doing well. How's everybody out there? How are you, Jeff?
I am doing well, and it's always a pleasure to hear from you. So,
thank you.
I know that you have been absolutely super busy with what's been going on with your work and stuff, and you really haven't had a lot of time to put together an encounter with, paperwork, so that just nothing bites you in the ass at the end, that way you have a 100% truths out of the story. So why don't we do that one-on-one? I think we both agree that sounds good. So
okay.
We'll start with well, first, really quick, a lot of people have been curious on what the difference between a dogman and a werewolf is. So we'll kind of start with the dogman and then work our way to Sasquatch. How about that?
That works for me.
All right.
Okay. General description of a dogman. On the average, male, they grow to about 7.5 to 8, just 8 foot. Range of weight anywhere from about 350 to maybe pushing 475 to 500 pounds. Dogman's got a tail and an extended snout, covered in fur except on the underneath side. It's thinner on the what you would call the belly or the chest. The back legs are still muscular. They are more human, not human-like, but or like dogs. They got the hocks to them, and they can travel on them very rapidly. They can run probably 35 to 40 miles an hour. The upper body, the arms are more human-like, with hands with very long, extended fingers, with anywhere from the claws are anywhere from 1.5 inches to 4 inches, depending on age. They've got a very long neck. Most of them, you can tell it, you know, like a dog. They've got a very long neck. The head is shaped mostly like a German Shepherd. Pointed ears, extended snout, double row teeth. The back set's a lot smaller than the front. A lot smaller, but it's there. It's through ripping. And are very aggressive. That would be the tail, anywhere from 2 foot to 4 foot. Just depends on what they I guess the lineage of where they've been bred, or the breeding of them. If you remember Raphael, he was 9.5 feet tall, and he had a different appearance to him than most of them. His jaws was more extended, and he was black totally in color. His eyes was demonic. He had got to the point where, we could go in with him, but, you still had to have somebody there at all times. You couldn't turn your back on him. But he was of a larger breed. I kind of feel like he was like what Luke had seen out there in that one story that Luke had seen of that one that had the red eyes. That him and his wife came across.
Yeah, the demonic one.
Yeah, the demonic one. Yeah, but the average ones is what I first described. That would be an average Dogman, and like I said, they're very aggressive. And if they are approaching you and not being aggressive, all they're doing is setting you up for a later fall. That's their mentality, and they've started packing, and that's why we're bringing them in now and taking them down. We move on to the werewolf. A full-grown male, average height be 7'10" to right at 9 foot would be a good height for an average werewolf. Human legs, feet like a human, with short toes, and it's got like dog claws for nails on the toenails, and can run approximately 45 to 48 miles an hour. Waist is like a human's, and then the body goes up to the shoulders. It's like a V, like a 34-inch waist and 58-inch chest, just a V. The upper portion's very muscular. Arms are huge, 24, 26-inch arms. A little longer than humans are, or that would be in proportion to what a human of that height would be. You know, their arms are a little longer. Claws are not hardly as long as that of a Dogman. They, on their hands, they probably average 1 3/4 to 2.5 inches long, 2 3/4 inches long. They're not near as long, but they're a whole lot stouter, and they can cut through metal like it's not even there. I mean, we've seen them go through 1/4-inch plate steel, and to get out, and they could. We had took years to get the enclosures where we could keep them right without putting stuff in their food to keep them sedated. And then you come up to the head. It's regular neck, thick muscles on the neck, regular size head, just like a human's. Little pointed ears, not on top of the head, but to the side like a human's, but they've got a slight point to them. The face is flat. The nose is pointed up slightly. The mouth is protruded out maybe 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch. No, you wouldn't call it a muzzle. I wouldn't, because it don't protrude out that far. It's got a heavy growl. The only place there's no hair or fur is right underneath the eyes and on the cheeks. There's light on hair. The chest is light on hair. The belly is light on hair. The legs, the front of them, are light on hair. The back of the legs, the hair looks like it's flowing, wavy, like 6 inches long. Very pretty. And the female's hair gets a lot longer. And it's almost feels like silk. The female's does, just soft as can be. They are very, very warm to be up against if you ever get that opportunity. And that's a good basic description of the werewolf.
No tail.
No tail. Just like a human. Walks just like a human. Talks just like a human. Communicates. It's got human intelligence. They're highly intelligent.
I just recently I didn't narrate it on this channel, but it was in the second volume of the audiobook that I did. A guy had I think it was in, I want to say Michigan, I'd have to go back and look, somewhere up north, and he was actually working on a guest house. He saw the creature twice. The second time, or more than twice, but the second time he saw the creature, he was inside of the house. It was a really small house, just for, if a family came to visit. He was in the kitchen putting a new fridge in, and he saw the creature, ran and locked the door, and kind of tapped on the window and the wall, and the thing looked right at him, and he immediately got petrified, sat on the floor, but could have sworn that he heard vocalization. He said it almost was not English. And then throughout the story, his mom and dad finally realize that he's not making it up, and they see it. They're at a barbecue at their house, and a guest is over, and her husband had just recently passed. So she's staring out, and she sees this creature, and he doesn't mention the vocalization to her at all, but she ends up saying, we've heard, and my ex-husband, or my husband that passed away, he, before he passed, heard dialect from these creatures out behind their house when, it was summertime, the window would be open, which is, it's very interesting because you don't hear a lot of encounters when they hear these creatures using any dialect. So, and then Zach, of course, from Alabama, had his encounter. So,
yeah, that's true. Most times the encounters happen so quick that there's not time for it to happen. So that's a lot of it right there.
Now the scale of danger. So right now we're at a Dogman at the danger scale of 1 to 10. What would you rank the Dogman? 10?
Of being aggressive towards humans.
Yep.
He's the most aggressive towards the human.
Okay.
Yes.
And then the werewolf falls where about on a scale of 1 to 10?
Well, if they came from the breeding program, they should be non-aggressive towards the human. Okay. If they came from the breeding program.
Okay.
They should be non-aggressive towards the human. If they're from the wild, they could be out of scale. They could be a 10.
Okay.
Most of what we see when we have trouble out of one, in the breeding program wasn't perfect. But when we see them, that that we have to go after them. Most of them that we have trouble with are wild, not from the breeding program, when we have to go after a werewolf. But there is occasions when we do have to go after one that is from the breeding program. And it does happen. So I would give it an overall ranking of 3.
Okay.
And that's where I do the werewolf at.
Okay.
And then on to the Bigfoot. Bigfoot. Average height for a Bigfoot is anywhere between 8'6" and 12 foot. Anywhere in weight from 600 pounds to 1,100 pounds. They are covered in different colors of fur. They walk upright. They do travel on 4s like an ape at times. They don't do it for long distances. They put their fists down and travel more like a gorilla than anything. And they walk upright, long strides. They can travel at a high rate of speed. They can probably do 35 miles an hour. They can people say they're telepathic and can vanish, and it seems like they're that way. It does seem that way, because I've had them in my sights and then blink my eyes and they're gone, and can't find them anywhere. So I don't have a good answer for it. They're covered in about four different colors of fur: brown, black, blonde, and you'll see an occasional white one. It ranges in length from anywhere from 4 inches to 9 or 10 inches. They are not aggressive towards humans unless you walk right up on them or you do something to a young, or you start some violence towards them. They just don't show aggression towards you unless you startle them or, just put them in a bad situation. And then if you've done that to them, it gets really bad really fast. And they are the strongest of all the big three. It'd probably take 20 men to hold one Bigfoot. And if everybody could get hold of it at one time, and that would be a hard thing to do. They have no tail. They live in what we call pods, small groups. There's a leader in every pod, an alpha, and he's not hardly ever challenged. And these pods, when the young grow up, they break off and go create their own and find them a territory. They normally range about 25 miles, center to center, for their territory. Sometimes food, they have to move more than that. And with the way things have got of late with the population explosion, they're traveling more now than ever. And we're getting more sightings, but they're not aggressive sightings. But a lot of the sightings that we're getting now, I think people are seeing werewolves, not Bigfoot, and there's misidentification because the two are so close. The werewolf and the Bigfoot are so close. Basically, almost the same face. The mouth is not as protruded on the Bigfoot as it is on the werewolf, but it's got the big heavy brow like the werewolf. It's got the same type of eyes, nose. Well, the nose, flat on the Bigfoot. But everything else, basically the same. Bigfoot don't have a neck. It's just shoulders and a head, seems like. And they're just massive. I've seen 58-inch across the shoulders.
Wow.
Shoulder to shoulder. Biggest I've seen. That's almost 5 foot.
Yeah. What's the
12 foot
tallest
10.
that you've seen?
The 12 foot 10.
Hmm.
That's tallest. That's right.
That's bigger than that's bigger than a 1-story building.
Yeah. That's right. Looked in. And then, after that, we go into the giants of the Northeast up there. So, but that's the basic breakdown of the appearance of the big three.
Now, when you said giants of the Northeast, are you referring to the...
I mean, northwest, I'm sorry.
Okay. Now, because so many people have heard the one where you were dispatched up to Alaska. That do you think that could have been a Sasquatch or way too big? Because I know some people have asked questions about that, if you thought that was a Sasquatch or what, or something different.
The one there in Idaho, Montana, in Canada.
Yeah, I think it was Canada, where the tracks were just immense, and
Yeah, 22-inch tracks.
Yeah,
that was in Idaho and Montana and Canada.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, tracks like that would represent something 18 to 20 foot tall. And, they think, and people, we lost 3 agents to that. When I went up there and found the guns, 300 casings, and the guns are just bent to pieces. And, there's all we got these tracks, but I can't go into Canada, and they just lead right back into Canada. And every time we get calls on it up there, and it comes from the same area every time. And they just come into the U.S. and they'll come down about 7 or 8 miles, and it's in a 30-mile stretch up there. They'll come inside the U.S. for about 7 or 8 miles. And that's as far down as they come. It seems like when we hit the area up there, it either knows or goes back to Canada, and we can't follow it into Canada. So, but that is a large creature, and I would like to see myself what it is.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of I know a lot of people have been talking about the Nephilim, and there's just a show called the Tribe of Giants. It's not a show, it's a movie or something like that, and it's pretty much the archaeology dig in North America, where they uncovered some absolutely huge bones and skulls, and very interesting movie. And there was the archaeologist who was doing it, and anthropologist who was doing it, did not mention that there was any kind of correlation between a primate bone or body design with these. So they were pretty much saying this is a completely different, being than some sort of primate. And, we humans fall into that category as well. So it's definitely something different than us. But and then that was interesting too, because you had mentioned the sound vibrations or whatever out there, like for a radius where it was quiet or something like that?
Yeah. Yep. Oh, goodness. I forget where that was. Anyway, yeah, it would it vibrate you.
Yep.
The whole thing would just, it screams in the vibration, and you couldn't locate it. And that was, you know, I know I was 7, 8 miles from it, had to be. And the vibration just came down that. I was between two mountains, and it came down between them two mountains and hit me. This scream. And literally, you could feel the vibration. And that will make you stop and think before you take another step.
Yeah.
What's in front of you. Yeah. Like a Tyrannosaurus Rex or something. You know, we talk about these giants up there. Well, look at Cade's Cove.
Yeah.
We got the Neanderthals out of there. You know, we took 13 total bodies out from there. So it was a good day for us there, but that was something that I never thought I'd see.
Right.
And people, you know, they just, I mean, they never even gave us no mind. Walk down in front of us, walk down the road, let us follow them straight. They was ready to defend then. But, I mean, it's and I mean, all them tourists up there, I mean, they know they had to be insane. So.
Now, that actually brought me to a question I was actually going to ask you because, you know, we were just talked about the big three, and then we got into the giant, but you never got to see that. The Neanderthal or caveman family was a definite weird one for you to witness. Has there been any other things that you can actually talk about now that have actually scared you?
Well, it's actually scared me. I had one that I don't know if it scared me or upset me or what, but it was I can't, I'll give as much detail as I can.
Okay.
This happened in California. And I've told you about it.
Yeah.
So you know about it. And this farmer out there was having the laborers from down Mexico come up there, and they was getting injured by something at night, and a couple of them had been killed, and he was having animals killed and all this, and nobody was saying nothing, and nobody could figure it out. And finally we got the call to go out there, and I personally went. And I spent 3 or 4 days out there before I even found the track. And I stayed on this one farm because they said this is where everything's happening. And it was a coastal place. And I was working 20 hours a day trying to, find something. And on about the 5th night, I laid down about 11, 12 o'clock at night, just I was going to get some rest. And all of a sudden, as this blood cleared and screamed, and I grabbed my rifle, pistol, just started running down through there trying to find it. And I found this man standing down there, and his right arm was cut off below the elbow. And he took his other hand and pointed. And I took off running because I knew where it was headed to. I knew I had to get ahead of it. So I ran, and I ran straight to the ocean. And when I got to the ocean, I just turned. And that's where I was going to make my stand because I know he was going to the ocean. And I didn't know what it was or where it's going to come out, but I know that there was about a 300-yard area right there where he was going to come in through. And all of a sudden it broke through the timber, and here it comes straight at me almost. I had to run about 40 yards to my right. Got in front of it, and it stopped. And I stopped. It looked just like a human being, except its arms looked like big old wide, like 5-inch wide blades or flippers or whatever what you want to call them. It didn't have no fingertips, didn't have nothing. It was just like they was long blades, hard fiber, I guess is what you'd call it. And started swinging at me, and I just kept backing up. I was talking. It wasn't doing no good. And finally, I just lifted my .458, put it around through the head. And it went down, and it was thrashing. I walked up there and put another round through the chest, where I thought the heart was. And it quit then. And we got a chopper from Camp Pendleton down there to come up there and pick it up. Took it down, and then they sent it by plane to Virginia. And as far as I know, they're still studying that one to this day. But I mean, to look at something that looked just like me except for the arms, and you could see the blood, on whatever you called. I called it its arms because that's what it looked. That's what it was in the place of. I just couldn't understand what I was seeing, but it never responded to any of my commands. So I have no regret in what I done about that one.
Yeah, and me and you have talked about that a couple of different times.
Yeah.
I asked, do you think it was a reptilian? Which you don't know because you don't know yet, like you said.
No, we don't. We don't know yet.
Which now brings me to the next thing, because a lot of people love hearing about the reptilians. Have you heard anything more on the reptilians as of late?
We had I was dark when this happened, but they had an update that came in on the population of them in the U.S., and it was down to like 45,000. So they're getting fewer and fewer.
Right. Last night I did a subscriber encounter, and she was in Illinois, and she 100% believes, and a very, very descriptive description of it was a police officer and pulled her over. The eyes were very lizard-like. It blinked obviously different, and there was a second fold of like a translucent skin between the main eyelid and the second eyelid, which was very interesting to me because, you know, it just goes to show that they actually, you know,
they're out there.
Yeah, and
they're
infiltrate there. The populace like that is amazing, you know, just to preserve their species. I mean, you know, something's killing them. It's not you, it's not your teams, it's
no.
Whether it be it might be environmental, you know, it might have been a, you know, perfect place for them a long time ago, or just a
could be.
Yeah, so who knows?
Yeah, so I've actually thought about that. This one time was probably the perfect place for them. And things has changed in the past 50, 60 years. And I think that's what's killing them off.
Yeah.
Global warming or anything, you know, could be changing their position.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know why I've never asked this question, whether it be me and you just talking or on one of our Q&As, but it's just popped into my head. So let's say the team is, you know, where you guys are at and you guys get a call. Have you guys ever gotten a call about or in the vicinity of a reservation and misidentification of a Dogman, werewolf, but have it be a shapeshifter? Has that ever happened?
Yes. Yeah, in Arizona. Yep.
Does that happen often or just?
It's happened to me twice. And I know it's happened to all the agents. And some of them more than once or twice, you know. Yeah, it happens.
Now at that point, you're dealing with something that's
supernatural.
Yeah. How do you go?
Really?
How do you go about? Do you just walk away, or do you try to pursue?
You try to pursue, but you do it in a different manner.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Let me think.
There's.
Now, how about flying cryptids? Mothman. I know there's been a rash of, because I had Lon Strickler on a couple weeks ago, and he himself he's fascinated with everything in the paranormal or cryptid community. But the one thing that he has a big obsession with is flying humanoid cryptids. Have you ever had any dealings with those?
We had a call this past week from West Virginia about Mothman. And we had 2 agents go down there, identified, located, but they couldn't get close enough to take a shot. They couldn't intercept it, and they couldn't located again after the first 2 nights. But the first 2 nights, it made itself presentable, open. But when they first seen it at close ranges, when they tried to maneuver to get a shot, they wasn't ready, and they had to maneuver to get their rifles. It took off at high rate of speed, several hundred yards from them, and watched them, and they could see it watching.
It's definitely,
and that was 2 weeks ago.
They're definitely a creepy organism, whatever it is. A lot of speculation, thinking that it could be possibly alien or supernatural or whatever. Who honestly knows?
Every time I get a call from something other like that, what comes to my mind is that movie, Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah.
That's what comes to my mind.
Yep. Exactly. Absolutely. Exactly. Yeah. Let's see. Encrypted. There.
What?
Have you ever, well out in the field, have you personally witnessed any of the big three coming into contact with each other? Let's say Dogman in contact with Sasquatch, Dogman in contact with Werewolf, Dogman, or Werewolf in contact with Sasquatch.
I've seen them all come in contact with one another at certain times. Most of the time, they'll go their own way. Now, if a werewolf and Bigfoot are in the same area, and it is the Bigfoot's area, as long as the werewolf's just taking what he's needing and moving through, the Bigfoot will let him pass through without any trouble. Now, Dogman, it's a different story. If Bigfoot and Dogman see one another, there's going to be trouble. I don't know if it's just bad blood. It seems like when the Bigfoot sees the Dogman, he just heads for him. I mean, he pushes him out of the area either by force or by running him out of the area. He's going to make him move. He ain't going to let him stay in his area. But there's not near as many Bigfoot as there is Dogman. Not near close enough. And the way they're packing up now, a single Bigfoot would need to be very selective of picking his fight.
Right, yeah. Speaking of the packing up, I'm always reading articles or researching stuff. I stumbled across this thing that wolves seldom do, but they do, and they're called super packs, where they actually, a bunch of small packs join forces and turn into a large. There was a super pack sighting in a small town in Russia, like Arctic Russia, maybe by Siberia, and almost 400 wolves running together in this super pack. and it's only been reported or recorded maybe once or twice in history. You know, I'm sure it's happened more than that, but observed, and these things descended upon a town and caused, I mean, there was children were killed going to school, and you know, there was precautions put out in towns and stuff. Has there ever been anything like that? Not like a super pack, but like a small Dogman pack. Have they ever descended on a small town and caused hell for that town ever? Without naming the town and stuff like that?
Well, I can name the town. But, I'll say this: Pennsylvania had a super PAC. Yeah, and it was a bad night that night. But, yeah, Pennsylvania had a super PAC. We went into it and cleaned house on it. And,
okay.
But that's the only, we've went into some that's had 75, 80, and then we'll get some, 30, 40, and occasionally we'll get one that's got 100, but that one had, 450, 500.
All in the area. That's crazy. That is.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
Now, as of right now, there are natural or wild Dogman. I know that you were talking about the ending of the breeding program and pulling the Dogmen in, breeded one, or the chipped ones. Is that going to be hard after the chipped ones come in to go out and get rid of the non-chipped ones?
Yeah. Then it's going to come down to something's going to have to happen for us to go out and get them. And just like, we would normally be doing, but since I'm calling in 500 a day right now. I've done up the game and getting there everything as fast as I can. And when we see them packing, we just call that whole packing. If we see 101 pack now, we just go ahead and call that whole pack. And so far, we've got one group that's got 28 in it. It's not responding. And I guess we're going to go down there and take all the agents and go down there and see if we can get them. But they're in Georgia. Yeah, that's what I said.
Okay. So I'm pretty much out of questions off the top of my head. Is there anything? I got about 20 more minutes. We've been on recording for about an hour now. Is there anything that you want to discuss for a couple minutes? Oh yeah. How about this? If one of the three descend on you while you're camping, let's say a Dogman, let's say you're camping with your family, a Dogman descends on your campsite, what to do?
Okay, if a dogman descends on you, best thing to do, if you're not prepared and don't have the proper firearm, is don't make eye contact. Keep your head down and just, kind of glance up every once in a while, see where it's at. Don't lift your head. Just, glance up. Just move your eyes. But don't make eye contact with it. Stay as still as you can. Look for something close to you if he decides to make that move. Hopefully, he'll get tired of you not looking at him, because that's what he's wanting you to do. He's wanting you to look at you where he can see you in the eyes, see what your intentions are. But if you don't have a gun and, don't make eye contact, and if you got kids, I know it's going to be hard, but try to keep them from screaming. And women, try to keep them from screaming. And it's hard. And I wouldn't be able to keep my grandkids from screaming. And I know it. So, but I try to stay ready. We're out camping. And I've got advantages because I know the situations and I know what needs to be done, and my senses about the situation and everything from years of it help me. But if it does, just keep your head down. Don't make eye contact. Hopefully we'll lose interest and walk away. If it don't, try to find you something to defend yourself with. If it does attack, you got a knife, whatever you find yourself to defend yourself with, go for the neck. Go for the neck. If you ain't got a gun, go for the neck.
Okay.
And if you're cutting at it, or if you're going to hit it, even go for the neck, or try to poke an eyeball out. Anything like that. If you're just bare fist, just try to poke an eyeball out. Because you just, if one attacks you, you ain't really got much of a chance unless you've got something in your hands.
Right.
Right. And
now,
that's just the honest truth.
Does that go for werewolf and Sasquatch as well? No eye contact, or?
No eye contact with a werewolf at all. And a Bigfoot, if you make eye contact with it, it's going to leave.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll leave. Bigfoot will.
Now,
they are timid from, but now werewolf from the breeding program will make eye contact with you and not hurt you or leave. But if it's a wild one, it's a different story. It's the same thing as the Dogman. So you got that 3% or 30%, whichever which way you want to look at it. And it gets down into just keeping yourself calm. Try not to let it sense that you're scared. But not looking at them is the biggest thing.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, and that, so I mean, I wonder if the one that Zach down in Alabama, the one that actually protected him from the Dogman there, I wonder if that was from the breeding program.
I would just about bet on it. It said something.
Yeah.
That, and it said it wrong, but instead of, it said, protect me, and it both said, I'm here to protect you. is what he should have said.
Right.
If I'm remembering right on that.
Yeah. Yep. But now a lot has changed because he hasn't seen it. Well, I haven't actually gotten an update from him in a long time. Last I knew, he hadn't seen, well, he was calling it Buddy.
Yeah, buddy.
And he hadn't seen it since that one day where he had to actually shoot his truck window out. But yeah, that's absolutely crazy. So
I didn't hear that one. I'll have to go back and look at that one.
yeah, there's a picture right on the video. I'll send you a link to it after we get done with this.
Okay.
Is there anything that you want to touch bases on really quick? And just kind of address?
This is me as a person to everybody. Okay? This is Victor. This is Victor. This isn't the general. This is Victor. I am worried with the new administration coming in. And I will probably not serve under the new administration. So I am making plans to retire early in January. And I have decided to do what everybody has suggested. And I'm going to write a book. So
that's going to be great.
That's going to be my future plans. So that's just something I just wanted to let everybody know.
Well, that'll be absolutely amazing. And when you get working on it, please let me know. In that way,
I will. You're going to have to help me with it.
Yep, we can let everybody know when the book is out and where to get a copy of that book, because it's just going to be great. So, well, we are almost coming up on about 71 minutes.
Okay.
I know that the last thing that you usually say is to always enjoy nature, and that these encounters are freak encounters. They're very seldom, and but to go and enjoy nature.
That's right.
Is there anything that you'd like to end tonight with?
Well, you just said it. Everybody get out and go out there in the wild and enjoy yourselves. And if it does happen, just bow your heads, stay calm. Chances are, it might not even see you. And, just do what you have to do. But like I said, get out in nature. Kids need it. Everybody needs it.
Absolutely. That right there, just before we end this, there's a lot of people that there are people that don't like to have firearms, that don't like firearms. What if people who camp and hike carried in their backpack, very accessible though, a flare gun? Would that do anything? Possibly frighten one away?
You mean shoot it into them?
Shoot it at them, shoot it up in the air, shoot it somewhere?
Well, The only thing I'd have against the flare gun, if you shot it at them and it goes into the woods, you're going to start a fire.
Right.
That's the only drawback to it. Of course, it's going to probably run off because it ain't going to know what that is. And, they are going to, they'll probably run from it. But if you shot it up in the air, I don't think they're going to run from it. So, I'd be about, I wouldn't really count on a flare gun, but myself.
Okay. Well, I was just saying, because some people don't, like to have
some people don't like guns.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, whether it be their own personal or having kids around or whatever. So,
yeah,
just an idea.
Air horns.
Yep.
That's a deterrent.
Okay.
For people that don't like guns, the really good bear spray. But I mean, a canister of really good bear spray's $100 nearly.
Yeah.
Of course, that's better than being dead.
Yeah, yeah. And it's not like you're going to have to continuously buy it. You buy a can, you put it in your pack, and you've got it. So.
Yeah, you might not deploy it for 4 or 5 years.
Right.
So.
Well. All right, I just wanted to, that just popped into my head right before. Because I remember a while back we were talking about, what people should carry who don't like to have firearms, and just popped into my head. So, well, it's been wonderful having you on tonight. I'm sure that there will be a lot of people happy to hear you tonight. Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me again.
It's always a pleasure. I'll talk to you soon, all right? And
okay.
I will send you that link. That way you can hear what Zach went through. I did send you the link about Luke.
Yeah, I got it and listened to it last night.
Yeah, and hopefully I will be getting in touch with him in the near future. I think maybe next week we'll probably get together and talk, but I'm not sure with his new schedule and stuff like that, since he's not at the area anymore. So, but
yeah, I'm gonna look into that closer too.
Yeah. So, well, my friend, it's always a pleasure, and thank you for coming on. And I'm sure I'll get a bunch of comments saying when you're going to come back on. So we'll have to plan on another one, all right?
Okay, we'll do that.
All right. Have a good night.
You too.
All right, guys, a ton of information right there. I hope you all enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. Man, every time I hear his voice, it makes me miss him even more. Just a real friend of the channel and a really great guy. And unfortunately, I don't know what is going on with him. I just pray that he's all right. With that being said, thank you for supporting the channel. Your support is what makes this channel so special and what continues to make it grow and go. Please, everyone, stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant. Keeping an eye on our children, our pets, our family, and friends. These creatures are real. They are out there. They are dangerous. Share a little bit of information with the people you love and care about. That same info we share here with each other on a daily basis with the people that you love and care. And it may just save their lives someday. Never stop pushing back. God bless you all.